Hello to all my dear friends. I think we can all agree that if dinosaurs were still alive, our lives as humans would be more terrifying. However, it might be hard to believe that there was a time when much larger, scarier, and more savage creatures than dinosaurs roamed the earth. From giant snakes to deep-sea fish, there were animals that only exist in nightmares. In this section, we want to get acquainted with some of the animals that were even more terrifying than dinosaurs. Number 1. Dunkleosteus. Some of the wildest creatures that have ever lived were aquatic animals, and Dunkleosteus is one of them. This savage fish lived during the late Devonian period, approximately 36 O's to 37 O's million years ago. This period is also known as the Age of Fish. It's important to note that this period existed millions of years before the emergence of dinosaurs, known as the Mesozoic era, which lasted from approximately 24.5 to 66 million years ago, and is divided into 3 parts: the Triassic, Jurassic, and Cretaceous periods. Measuring around 8 to 10 meters in length, Dunkleosteus terrelli resembled a shark. It had a very powerful head and a frightening appearance. At first glance, you can see that it doesn't have properly arranged teeth like other animals. However, it had 2 large dagger-like teeth that could consume and destroy anything. And when I say anything, I truly mean anything. Because Dunkleosteus was a fish eater, it could devour fish, sharks, and even its own kind. This creature had a very strong bite force, estimated to be around 560 kilograms per square centimeter. For comparison, the bite force of an animal like a lion is approximately 45 kilograms per square centimeter. One of the challenges Dunkleosteus faced was its enormous appetite and the need for a substantial amount of food. This led to difficulties in digesting the food and sometimes even resulted in its death. Number 2. Helicoprion. If you thought Dunkleosteus was fierce, wait until I introduce you to the buzzsaw-like creature known as Helicoprion. This terrifying animal, measuring around 6 to 8 meters in length, roamed the Earth approximately 27 O's million years ago. When paleontologists first discovered its fossils, they were completely perplexed by what they had found. It wasn't until Alexander Petrovich Karpinski, a Russian geologist, realized that these fossils were actually parts of a shark-like creature's body that they named it Helicoprion in 1899. However, at that time, Karpinski believed that these fossils were part of the snout of Helicoprion. For many years, scientists were puzzled about exactly where in the animal's body these fossils belonged. It wasn't until over 100 years later, in 2013, that it was finally determined what this fossil actually represented. In 2013, Professor Leif Tapanila concluded that these fossils were actually the teeth of this fish, located in the lower jaw of the creature. As the age of Helicoprion increased, new teeth would grow, and it's worth noting that this fish had no other teeth besides these unique ones. Scientists also believe that after capturing prey, the teeth of this creature would rotate like a circular saw, shredding the prey into pieces. Furthermore, the largest Helicoprion discovered so far had a spiral tooth whorl measuring about 60 centimeters in width. And this horrifying monster went extinct approximately 22.5 million years ago. Number 3. Terror birds. Just the name terror bird should make us glad that they are extinct. After a meteor wiped out dangerous dinosaurs like Tyrannosaurus, terror birds emerged as the top predators in South America, continuing their reign as the most fearsome hunters for 60 million years. These terrifying birds stood up to 3 meters tall, and their legs resembled those of a dinosaur, specifically the Tyrannosaurus. Their beaks were so large and powerful that they could easily slice a horse in half. During that time, Central America did not exist, and the South American continent was still a massive island. The beak of these large birds was so strong that during hunting, with a single blow to the prey's head, they would crush their skulls and eliminate them. Over the course of 60 million years, 17 different species of these birds came and went in South America, until all of them became extinct 2.5 million years ago. Number 4. Platybelodon. How can you make an elephant terrifyingly scary? Just replace its trunk with a large forked spoon. This creature seems like it was designed based on the imagination of a 7 or 8-year-old boy. But if we travel back 8 to 20 million years ago, Platybelodon was indeed real. These distant relatives of today's elephants had a strange and peculiar tool, which consisted of wider and fused lower tusks. But the question remains, how did these elephants use their peculiar trunks? When paleontologists described these animals in the 1920s, it was believed that they used their lower trunks to scoop up and grab vegetation. However, in 1992, another paleontologist named David Lambert suggested that, in addition to scooping, they used their broad and sharp lower tusks as a blade to cut through dense vegetation. These elephants inhabited the entire continents of Asia, Africa, and North America. Interestingly, the trunk part of elephants does not fossilize easily. However, because many of these animals died near or in rivers, and rivers greatly aid in fossilization, we now have a wealth of knowledge about this dangerous and terrifying creature. If these elephants were alive today, they would impose a serious threat to humans. However, I think we can all agree that they had a very ugly and terrifying mouth. Number 5. Andrewsarchus. This carnivorous mammal is also known as Andrewsarchus mongoliensis. Although a complete fossil of this animal has not been found, one of its skulls was discovered in Mongolia and the length of this skull was about a meter. In those years, Roy Chapman Andrews led an expedition team in Mongolia and, based on the sharp teeth, speculated that this animal was a carnivore. He named this animal after himself, Andrews. This terrifying carnivore lived approximately 46 to 65 million years ago in Eastern Asia. Based on the discovered skulls and their close resemblance to bear paws, paleontologists believe that Andrewsarchus likely had a similar appearance. It was an animal with a height of 2 meters, a length of 5 meters, and weighed around 800 to 1,000 kilograms. Andrewsarchus is the largest known carnivorous mammal that has ever lived on Earth. Number 6. Titanoboa. If you're afraid of snakes, this section might be even more terrifying for you. 60 million years ago, in the swamps of present-day Colombia, the largest snake that ever existed lived, Titanoboa. It measured 15 meters in length and weighed 1,134 kilograms. This giant snake fed on everything, from large turtles to crocodiles. The exact extinction time of Titanoboa is unknown, but it is believed that they lived in South America for about 2 million years. Number 7. Jacalopterus. This creature can be described in 3 words: giant, ocean, and scorpion. Most of these ancient sea scorpions were the size of a human hand, except for the terrifying Jacalopterus that lived around 46 million years ago during the Silurian period. This spiky scorpion-like creature measured about 2.5 meters in length and is known as the largest known arthropod to have ever existed. These creatures could move underwater at incredibly high speeds. In addition to their numerous legs, this underwater monster had large and powerful pincers. One of the fossilized pincers was discovered in 2007, measuring approximately 45 centimeters in length. It is safe to say that if this terrifying creature still existed today, it could easily hunt and devour humans, splitting us in half with its powerful pincers and devouring us like a nut. Fortunately, this creature became extinct during the Permian mass extinction event, which occurred 25 to 29 million years ago, where more than 96% of marine species on Earth went extinct. Number 8. Phoberomys pattersoni. It seems clear by now that the creatures that existed in the past were only larger, stranger, and more terrifying versions of the animals we deal with today. Phoberomys pattersoni is one of them. These were the largest rodents in the history of the Earth, measuring 3 meters in body length and 1.5 meters in tail length. Fossils of several of these rodents have been found in Argentina, Brazil, and Venezuela. While they are closer relatives to guinea pigs, they resemble capybaras more, although much larger and heavier. Research on their discovered bones indicates that these creatures weighed around 800 kilograms, which is something like a buffalo. Each of their teeth measured 30 centimeters in length, and although they were herbivorous, they could easily crush the skulls of other animals if faced with them. They lived near swamps until they became completely extinct about 8 million years ago. Number 9. Hallucigenia. Identifying and reconstructing the appearance of a fossil can be quite challenging for paleontologists, especially if the creature has been extinct for more than 400 million years. When it came to the nightmare worm, paleontologists didn't know where to begin. For example, researchers spent over 5 years studying the fossil of this 1-2 centimeter long worm to figure out where its head even was. In 1977, English paleontologist Simon Conway Morris started working on a 1.5 centimeter fossil discovered 66 years earlier in the Rocky Mountains of Canada. It belonged to the Lobopodian family, which includes velvet worms, but Simon didn't believe that the nightmare worm was related to Lobopodians. Simon believed that this worm could walk on its thin legs and had several spines on its back. He named this worm Hallucigenia because finding such a terrifying creature could be like a hallucinatory nightmare. However, in 1991, 2 scientists named Lars Ramskold and Ho Shengguang disagreed with Simon's conclusions. They stated that Simon's interpretation was the opposite, meaning the spines he referred to as legs were actually for defense, and the structures he described as being on its back were its actual legs. Although it may seem small, I think many of us would flee in fear at the sight of such a creature walking in such a manner. Number 10. Anthropleura. Anthropleura is a far cry from the small millipedes you've seen so far, as this creature could reach up to 2.6 meters in length. It lived during the Carboniferous period, approximately 299 to 359 million years ago. While it may have been herbivorous, there is no doubt that they were incredibly fearsome. Their pedipalps were the largest appendages ever known to exist on Earth. It is believed that their pedipalps could be raised in a defensive posture due to their body structure. Now, you might wonder why insects and millipedes today are not giant and colossal like in the past. Scientists believe that millions of years ago, during the time of these pedipalps, the oxygen levels on Earth were higher, around 30%. It's important to note that the current oxygen level on Earth is around 21%, so this higher oxygen content likely contributed to their gigantism. Number 11. Mosasaurus. If you're a fan of Jurassic Park movies, you may already be familiar with Mosasaurus, but the important thing to note is that Mosasaurus is not actually a dinosaur. This giant aquatic reptile is more closely related to snakes and monitor lizards than dinosaurs. This warm-blooded meat-eating behemoth lived in the oceans worldwide 66 to 80 million years ago. Although a complete fossil of Mosasaurus has not been found, paleontologists believe they reached a length of 14 to 15 meters and weighed around 5 tons, larger than a big bus. Like snakes, Mosasaurus had a row of teeth in their jaws that aided in capturing prey underwater. They were highly successful predators. The content of their stomachs indicates that they fed on creatures such as ammonites, fish, sea turtles, plesiosaurs, and even seabirds. Fossils of these creatures have been discovered on every continent, including the South Pole. Fortunately, the same asteroid that wiped out the dinosaurs also led to the extinction of these marine monsters. Now, I have a question for you. Humans have only explored about 5% of the ocean so far. Do you think it's possible that there could be creatures in the depths of the seas that are larger and more terrifying than Mosasaurus? Feel free to comment.